In any group, there are these unwritten rules. If you break them, you risk being cast out. But what if you could not only understand these rules, but actually use them to your advantage? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build a practical playbook for mastering group dynamics. So let's dive in.
Wow. I mean, this quote really gets to the heart of why social situations can feel so incredibly high stakes. This isn't just about making awkward small talk at a party. It's about a deep, primal need to belong. Think about it. For our ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe literally meant certain death. And that ancient fear, that terror of isolation, it's still hardwired into our brains today. And it's the invisible force driving our actions in every single group we join.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the why, that deep-seated survival instinct. Then, we'll do a quick review of the 5 unwritten laws that govern any group. After that, we'll get into our 3 core strategies: observe, integrate, and balance. And finally, we'll put it all together into a simple, actionable guide you can start using immediately.
So, what are the stakes today? I mean, the saber-toothed tigers are gone, but that fear, it's still here. Today, what we face is social death, the modern equivalent of being left behind. It's that sinking feeling of being excluded or ignored, or just made to feel totally invisible. And believe it or not, it triggers the exact same primal survival alarms deep inside our brains.
It's funny, the reasons we get together in groups, they haven't really changed all that much. Back in the day, it was all about safety in numbers, sharing food, and working together to hunt massive prey. While today, those same principles apply in our offices and our communities. Project teams give us security through shared goals, our networks provide support when we need it, and companies achieve things that no single person ever could. The context has changed for sure, but the core benefits, they're exactly the same.
All right, so before we jump into the actual strategies, we absolutely need to understand the fundamental laws that are running the show behind the scenes. I want you to think of these as like the laws of physics for social interaction. You can't defy them, but once you understand them, you can start using them to your advantage.
Now you might be thinking, a review. Why? Well, it's absolutely crucial. Every single strategy, every tactic we're about to cover is built on this foundation. Without a solid grip on these principles, our whole playbook just falls apart. So let's make sure we've got it down cold.
Just look at this. You can see how these laws all work together to create this really powerful self-reinforcing cycle. It all kicks off with our deep need for belongingness. That drives us to form groups, which then create norms, the unwritten rules. To fit in, we conform. And that shared behavior builds cohesion, that powerful us against the world feeling. And finally, the group uses conformity pressure to keep everybody in line. It's an incredibly powerful self-sustaining system.
And this right here, this is a really critical distinction we have to make. Sure, every group has its official rules, the stuff that's written down in the employee handbook. But the real power, the real game, is in the unwritten rules. Who you eat lunch with, what jokes are considered okay, who really has influence, that's the hidden playbook. And trust me, breaking one of these unwritten rules can cost you way more than violating some official policy.
Okay. So we get the system, right? We see how it works. The big question is, how do we actually navigate it? Well, our first guideline is all about becoming a social detective. Before you even think about making a move in a new group, your #1 mission is to observe, not just the group, but yourself.
Listen, if you're going to play this game effectively, you've got to know your own default settings. Are you the person who naturally just goes with the flow, maybe even a little too easily? Or are you a natural-born rebel, the one who's always pushing back and questioning the status quo? Neither one is right or wrong, but trying to navigate a group without knowing your own tendencies is like trying to fly a plane blind.
So as you can see, we're kind of breaking this down into 2 main types. If you're a type A, an over-adapter, your biggest risk is completely losing yourself in the group. So your counter strategy is to consciously, deliberately protect your private time and your own identity. Now, if you're a type C, a nonconformist, you're pretty much always at risk of getting social pushback. Your strategy has to be to consciously adopt some of the group's behaviors, not to be inauthentic, but to create a shield that lets you survive and eventually be heard.
All right, you've done your recon, you've sized up the group, you've taken a hard look at yourself. Now it's time to make your move. This next phase is all about tactical integration. It's the art of strategically aligning with the group to build trust and disarm any potential resistance.
This next part is a total game changer. It's a huge mindset shift. The next time you find yourself having to go along with something you don't really believe in, don't think of it as selling out or being a phony. I want you to think of it as a strategic move on a chessboard. By detaching emotionally, you save your energy and protect your inner sense of self. See the difference? You're not being fake, you're being strategic.
And here it is, the core tactic for playing this whole game. It's called public conformity. It's the simple but incredibly powerful act of separating what you do from what you truly believe. You give the group the performance it needs to feel safe and secure, all while protecting your real thoughts and values on the inside. You're not just an actor in the play, you are the director.
Okay, so what does this actually look like day to day? How do you pull this off? First, when you're new, your main goal is to just blend in. Don't try to stand out. Second, become ruthlessly, undeniably good at your actual job. That flawless execution becomes your protective cloak. It makes you look reliable and totally non-threatening. And once the group decides you're safe, guess what? They stop watching you so closely. And that is when you earn your freedom.
So, okay, this whole tactical integration thing, it gets you in the door, keeps you safe in the short term, but let's be real, you can't act forever, right? So how do you find a sustainable balance without completely burning out or losing track of who you really are? Well, that brings us to our final crucial guideline. So here's this really cool idea called idiosyncrasy credits. Think of it like a social bank account. Every time you conform and contribute in a positive way, you make a deposit. Once you've saved up enough credits, you can spend them by voicing a different opinion or challenging a norm without getting a ton of backlash. But this performance, it takes a toll. That's why self-care isn't a luxury. It's a non-negotiable necessity. It could be blocking out an hour to read, going for a run, anything that reconnects you with your authentic self. And finally, if the price of belonging is just too high, the smartest, most strategic move you can make is to start planning your exit. And I really want to be crystal clear on this point. Deciding to leave a group that's a bad fit for you, that is not a failure. It's a total power move. But you don't storm out and burn bridges, no. You maintain your public performance, you keep yourself safe, all while you quietly and strategically find the next group, the one where you can truly thrive. All right, we've gone through all the theory, all the tactics. Now let's pull everything together into one simple, actionable playbook that you can use in any situation. Think of this as your go-to cheat sheet for mastering group dynamics. This right here, this is your take-home tool. It's the whole strategy in a nutshell. It's simple. If your thoughts line up with the group's norms, awesome. Be yourself. It's effortless. But the second you feel that conflict, that misalignment, the playbook kicks in. Phase 1, you start the acting game, public conformity. Phase 2, you execute your duties flawlessly to build your shield. Phase 3, you decompress and recharge outside the group. And Phase 4, you're always preparing your next move, just in case.
You know, when it's all said and done, it really just boils down to one simple question. These forces of group dynamics are always at play. They're shaping your behavior whether you realize it or not. So your only choice is this. Are you going to be a pawn, just moved around by forces you don't even understand? Or are you going to be a player, someone who knows the rules of the game and uses them to win? The choice, as always, is yours.